Iain White, you have some very strong opinions on the place of portals and UK estate agents. So what I'd like to do today is talk about what the plans are with regard to the campaigns that are flying around at the moment, where the portals stand in the marketplace generally away from the campaigns, and then moving forward to talk about what individual agents can or could or shouldn't do, in your opinion, on to make themselves more successful.
Well, look, I mean, I think the campaigns, they don't necessarily appear to be growing numbers particularly hugely. And certainly the statistics that I'm having fed back from the data analysts, is the number of feeds being cut to Rightmove. Whilst there have been feeds cut to Rightmove more than at any other time in my living memory, the feeds being cut is actually quite minimal at this moment in time. I think the big frustration for those that haven't yet swung in behind the various campaigns is that the campaigns haven't really actually truly said what they stand for. I mean, is it leave Rightmove? You know, does say no to Rightmove mean leave, or does it mean stay at a certain price? Does it mean leave at the end of the 3-month, with the period that they've got where it's discounted? Does it mean leave at the end of your contract? So I think that's one question mark that's perhaps held people back from joining joining that particular camp. The boycott Rightmove.
But then hold on a second. If agents don't like to be told what to do. So if someone said leave Rightmove, when, let's be frank, none of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, I can never say that word, have left themselves. I mean, my understanding is that
I think that's part of the clarity that's needed, isn't it? Are they saying leave Rightmove, or are they saying leave Rightmove if they can't negotiate a price? And if that's the case, tell us what that price is. Tell us what the buy when date is, and tell us what you think should be done in the event that Rightmove don't negotiate to whatever the agreed price is. But I sort of slightly disagree with agents don't like being told what to do. I think agents don't like being told what to do by outsiders. And what I mean by that is perhaps people who don't understand the industry. But I think they're very, very keen to be led or advised or guided by, what is a big decision. Leaving Rightmove is a big decision. I mean, we've all been on it for a long period of time. It is a source of leads. We are coming into a tricky trading period. So I think having a clarity of purpose would be positive, because I think even if it meant there were fewer people in the groups, and I actually think it would happen to mean that there are more people following it, but let's just say some people don't align to whatever vision it is, they stand up and say this is what we stand for, at least what they've got will then carry through the actions. Whereas at the moment, I think there's an awful lot of people in those groups that have no intention of leaving Rightmove. I don't think the numbers are correct. Similarly, though, there are a number of people outside of those groups that haven't yet signed up who absolutely have or will be leaving Rightmove. So,
I mean, do you think the portals allow agents that shouldn't be in business to be in business because it's leveled the playing field?
I think there's two answers to that. I think the portals create a barrier to entry to the market because of the cost. So I think it makes it harder for people to come into the market.
But all you need is like a grand a month, and you're an estate agent. A note from a mum, and a note from your mum, and a note from the redress scheme and anti-money laundering, and bush, you're an estate agent.
Yeah, but you're not going to be one for very long, are you? If your budget's genuinely, if that's your business plan, that's your strategy, you're really not going to be one for very long. And the cost
work for most agents.
Well, has it? Are they genuinely making more money than they would make if they went and worked for somebody else that had proper marketing? I'm not so sure. These, some of these self-employed models and other more enlightened employers that are sharing better profits with their higher paid or higher skilled people. I think there's an awful lot of estate agency owners at the moment that are keeping their, they can't sleep at night. They've got one eye open. They're not worried, they're not sure where to pay the VAT bill, if they can pay the tax bill, can they make the wage bill? And frankly, it's an existence. I'm not so sure that they really are running proper businesses. However, they are clearly skilled estate agents who, if they worked for a more enlightened employer or under one of these umbrella brands that are all trying to grab your attention at the moment, maybe they would have a better lifestyle and more income and less stress.
I mean, the thing that shocked me is that when On the Market came along, they basically on the market was almost a copy version of Prime Location, which was a southeast England portal. But then the brilliant thing about that was the fact it was a regionally based thing, and then they decided to reincarnate it and put it as a national. But then on the market, then, as you say, they try to copy Rightmove, and if you try and play Rightmove at their own game and match their product, then you're not going to win. And then there's these new people that come in who are trying to compete on price, but none of them are putting a plan together. You almost need all three, don't you? You need a great product, a great price. If price was the driving force here, then the freebies would come on board, wouldn't they? I know you've got the issue with having to spend money to drive people, but do you actually need shed loads of money to have a great portal?
You certainly don't need to have shed loads of money to create the technology behind a portal. That's actually now quite old hat and quite simple technology. But to answer those questions one at a time, the on the market situation was, disrupting the portal market with another identical portal seems a flawed business model, full stop. Secondly, I think it's been proven that, the original concept, the one only portal rule, the agents owned by agents, one man, one vote, or whatever it was, and you'll always be the cheapest. You'll always pay the cheapest subscriptions if you join now, etc., etc. That just hasn't worked because it wasn't a truthful path. There was never really parity in the prices. There are people now signing up today that pay less than people that have been paying in for 4 years, which, it doesn't matter how good the portal is. That just doesn't sit well with a lot of people. It certainly doesn't sit well with me as being morally correct. They sent out their discount, which was very nice of them to help the agents out through COVID-19. It's a genuine gesture, but they only did it for the people that were paying full whack, and those people are still paying more than people that have signed more recently. So a discounted, we're going to help you out scenario. So I think on the market did well in terms of the fact that it clearly did allow the agents this sort of thought or a dream that they could have a portal that they owned that would be controlled by them, that that would have all the advantages of not being bullied and however you want to look at it. But it just simply failed. I think its primary flaw was the one only portal rule. I think that caused major problems. I think the agents that do support it and still do support it and did support it, I think they probably picked the wrong target to have a go at when they came off of Zoopla as opposed to Rightmove. I think they strengthened Rightmove by that very action.
Let's come back to the original thing. What if you were Rob Sargent and the other three horsemen? Now, and again, let's all be frank with each other. You do have a connection with one of the fighter portals that wants to come up, and I think it's important that gets said, because people say behind back. So you are an advisor to One Dome, but you've always been open about that. But put that aside, what is your solution if you were running the show?
If I was trying to run a group of people to come to say no to Rightmove, in effect, I think it would be to literally make a stand on what it was I stood for. So if the view was we should all come off of Rightmove, I'd be very, very clear. We should all come off of Rightmove. We should give our notice by this date, and we should let our contracts run through, and then we should all come off of Rightmove. Are you with us, yes or no?
But that's not creating a solution. That's just basically kicking someone down. That's killing Rightmove. Surely the plan has to be a solution for what you're going to do after that.
Yeah, I think I'd be very, very clear as well well, I think agents are going to make their own decisions. Let's say we had an environment where Rightmove was either seriously weakened or ceased to exist. I think agents will make, generally speaking, their own decisions on what they do next. But certainly for me, I would take advantage of Zoopla's free offer, because why wouldn't you? It's not being a fan of Zoopla, but it's free, it's there, it's the next biggest audience, it lessens any risk. It allows you to have a fight back position for those that might say, well, I'm on Rightmove, they're not. It gives you the second best opportunity, and it's free for now. I would definitely list with the free to list portals, as I've said before with you. Yes, I do some work with One Dome, but ultimately I would either never work with them or never recommend a portal just because I'm doing work with them. The simple fact is they don't charge anything. They're free. They don't sell your data. I can see no earthly reason why an agent wouldn't be on them.
Do you think that?
But I would also
Do
then
you,
be looking at.
do you
Sorry.
think? Do you think that there's a marketplace for multiple portals and almost having an open market, which is
I
great for
think.
agents, but then is it great for the clients, the buyers, and the tenants?
Well, I think it's a short-term plan. I think if you get an open market, as we spoke to the last time, if we get this open market that you and me spoke about the last time we were on tape, I think that then will force innovation, and through that innovation, we will end up with something that's better for the consumer and better for the agents, and probably go back to some sort of central or one or two choice, but it will be a different one or two choice at a different price point, with some real innovation for the customers, because you can't, Rightmove doesn't win the customer's eyeballs because its search facility is somehow that much better than the other portals. It doesn't win the game. The actual user experience on Rightmove is possibly in some cases inferior to the other portals, because I think they've not had to innovate because they've got that brand awareness. There is no doubt that the habit of going to Rightmove to search for property is fairly ingrained in.
Do you think the industry is addicted like a drug user to Rightmove and thinks they need them?
I think they're scared of. I think they're scared of not being on them. I think they fear what their competition will do if agent A is on it and agent B isn't. I think they're scared of that. I think they believe. In some cases, I'm going to be honest with you, Rightmove, and I saw the comment the other day, so this isn't my comment, but it resonated, that I think Rightmove has become the most highest performing member of staff for a lot of estate agents. But I think that says more about the estate agents than it does about Rightmove. That's not Rightmove's fault. The estate agents have created an environment where you put a property you put a property up for sale, and Rightmove or a portal will sell it for you. Now, if that really is the future of estate agency, Purple Bricks have won. Purple Bricks are right. They've won the game, because why would a consumer pay you 2% to list their property, or 1.5% to list their property, when you might sell it, you might not? If really all you need to do is put it on Rightmove. If Rightmove is the holy grail of selling properties, estate agency as an industry is just not needed. Now, I appreciate we had a lot of value in the negotiation process. We had a lot of value in keeping the deal going through the sales progression end, which I accept doesn't the portals don't deliver that. But the very act of finding a buyer,
which you need for the others to take place, don't you?
Yeah, you of course you have to find buyers, but all of these solutions are just marketing solutions to connect estate agents with buyers, sellers, tenants, and landlords. That is the primary function. And there are many more plans that estate agents could go down now in using some fairly advanced social media technology, their own personal branding, which can bring much better dividends in terms of leads for sellers and landlords. Those things will outperform Rightmove hundreds of times to one. However, they're not tangible. It's very difficult for the agent to see it. There's this worry about what the other agent will say about you not being on Rightmove and being on Rightmove.
So it really comes down to the fear of that agent saying, if I leave Rightmove, I don't want to pay them, but if I leave Rightmove, I could lose a listing. I mean, I think it's more relevant for sales and lettings. For lettings, you already have that connection with the landlord. So if you say to the landlord, I'm going off Rightmove, but I'm going to keep on Zoopla, and all they care about.
Agents do not need portals full stop for lettings inquiries. They just don't need it. They might need it to make connection with the odd landlord, but in reality, letting a property, the demand is so strong. If you've got a good property at the right price, you'll let it, and you'll let it from lots of different sources. In terms of connecting with landlords, it's quite easy to do.
I mean, what agents could do is come off Rightmove on the letting side, because let's be frank, the vast majority of the traffic, a lot of the traffic, because there's a lot more properties coming up for rent because of the nature of the cyclical nature, to almost half wean themselves off Rightmove that way.
I think some have, Chris. I think some have taken that step, that they've. I mean, certainly in the south, I can't speak for up north, but certainly in the south, generally speaking, Zoopla has always performed better on lettings than sales for leads, and Rightmove has always performed better in most cases for sales than Zoopla. Possibly with central London being an exception. So, but the simple fact is, I think the thing to discover in terms of the real question you were asking me is, what's the plan? If you weren't on Rightmove, what's the plan? Well, I think the first thing estate agents need to understand is if we shut down all the portals, we just simply all took our properties off the portals and the portals went bankrupt, the number of people wanting to transact in the UK largely won't change. Rightmove and Zoopla do not create buyers and sellers. What they do is connect buyers and sellers through an agent to one another. There are now many, many more efficient ways to do that through social media, through marketing an individual brand underneath an umbrella. Employed or self-employed is not the point I'm making. It's just if you build up the individual person within a community, the lead generation power of that is immense. If you use some of these really, and I'm not talking about a paid boosted ad on, I see lots of agents say, well, I'm on Facebook, I'm a real exponent of social media. A boosted paid advert on Facebook is not high-tech social media advertising, not even close.
No.
So, you've got to invest a little bit of your money in some of these high-tech platforms that go finding the passive buyers, and they almost replicate what the old newspapers used to do, but in a much cleaner, more environmentally friendly and technologically advanced way. And that's that they create the serendipity buyers, the people who are sat there and they see on their screens this beautiful house that they've always passed when they walk the dog and think, blimey.
Well, we've talked about it a number of times. You've got what are those guys? CCT, what are they called? Who basically
CCT Digital is I mean, there are a number of platforms to be fair, but CCT Digital, from all the ones I've seen, is by far the most advanced and
that's putting properties in front of the algorithms, putting the property in front of the right people. So you can definitely use Facebook cleverly to put the properties in front of people, and you can also need a separate campaign to get your personal brand awareness and your company brand awareness with compelling, interesting content that make them attracted to you to get the properties as well. So I agree with you. You don't need portals. What we need to do,
you definitely don't need portals. Portals do not manufacture sellers, landlords, buyers, or tenants, or mortgage appointments. What they do is connect the people that are in those camps to an estate agent, and they charge for the privilege. And why shouldn't they charge for the privilege? However, that's got a little bit out of smack. It's got a bit out of kilter. There clearly is a control on the market. I think it's affected the evolution of the estate agency industry as a whole, because I think it's become lazy and reliant on the portals to sell houses. Possibly even lazy and reliant on the portals to list houses for them, which it just doesn't do and never has done, and it's not their responsibility to do so.
I mean, the analogy I like is, I think people are, the Rightmove bang out the amount of traffic they chuck out. It's millions and millions and millions. So people look at that and go, shit, I need some of that. But that's like your estate agency is in like a little shop in a little service station on the M1. But if every car's not going to the service station and whizzing by, it doesn't matter how many millions of cars go past. If they're not going into your service station and then more importantly going into your little shop, it doesn't matter what the traffic is on the road. And it amazes me that let's be frank. I mean, I think it's Rightmove said 6 in 10 inquiries come from the internet. But if there's only 75,000 transactions a year, and there's millions, there's a shed load of time wasters. It's almost, Rightmove's like an entertainment channel. It's like Netflix. It's property porn, isn't it? The quantity's there, but is the quality there? And like you said, if you can use clever tech, which wasn't there 20 years ago, clever tech with putting the right adverts on social media, funnels, you don't need it, do you?
At the end of the day, the beauty of social media is it keeps the audience individual. It means that you're likely to have a very specific database to you, which could be a USP over another estate agent. If you're just a portal estate agent, and your strategy is around portals, and that's all you can tell your vendor, then you're always going to be challenged on your fees and other things, because you're just a vanilla estate agent doing the same thing as 10 other people. And if a consumer can see or can only visualize that it's the same thing, just that one's black and white, this one's purple and blue, it's going to become a price on, it's a price war.
So do you go now, or do you almost learn, you take this time in the next 6 months to learn the techniques, either spend money and use these people, or learn the dark arts using likes of your Paul Longs and things, because you can learn these things.
I think
weed yourself off.
I think the real problem is, if we're really honest with ourselves, we have a slight problem, because the really big agents who have got big market shares and big turnovers, not necessarily got lots of offices, but there are some really good companies with one office or maybe 4 or 5 offices that make a lot of money. They're very dominant. They're very, very market share positive. they're the ones that don't need Rightmove, because they're the ones that don't need Rightmove, but they're the ones that are happy for it to stay in place because it's a barrier to entry and everything else. Whereas the little guy who probably needs Rightmove from the leads, he's the one that actually wants to come off, because he's either new in he's either fairly early in his journey, or he really has built a business that relies on the portals to be the seller. So, you know, there is an out of kilter balance between.
Yeah, and I bet that little guy's spending more money on Rightmove than the big chain, because they obviously have to pay less. So,
well, I think that's why you're going to see. I think that's why you're going to see smaller agents starting to collaborate and work under the umbrellas of the bigger guys to get all the benefits of scale, size, innovation, techniques. Probably lower their cost base. But ultimately still maintain business ownership, because they are ultimately very good estate agents, but they're not necessarily brilliant business people. I mean, most of the training and mentoring I do now to the smaller sector, it's not to do with estate agency skills, it's to do with business skills. So, you know, in reality, if you are a small independent estate agent who is totally reliant on Rightmove for your leads, there is something else wrong in your business. So if you're sat there listening to this now thinking, that's me, it's not a criticism of you, I promise you it's not a criticism of you, but it means that there are other things wrong in your business. Have you really truly got personal identity within your community? Are you pushing out the right material through the right content? Are you connecting with the agency, with the service, the community, with a service level offering that's correct for the fee that you're charging? Are you producing a wow moment in all the service and touch points with the consumer? Because if you are, Rightmove is an irrelevance. If you're not, Rightmove becomes something that is your engine. Now, you can't drive a car without an engine. So, you know, so agents have to make a decision. But I think the really big issue is, and I as I say, I've said to you before, I am not anti Rightmove. I'm pro estate agency, and my problem is I'm seeing estate agency go down the drain. So, but I think it's partly going down the drain because Rightmove has made us lazy. You could even argue email's made us lazy. You know, email has made, you know, the art of phoning around a property has turned into pushing a button. And that's not phoning around on a property to get viewings. That's not knowing your database. That's not understanding.
we're almost passive intermediaries for Rightmove, aren't we? We almost put the property on the market for Rightmove. Give them a lot of money.
Which is the description many would give for purple bricks, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's exactly my point. You either charge correctly and become a premium offering and be a premium offering, or you accept that you have a different type of business model and you charge appropriately, and attract a different type of consumer, because there are consumers that will want both sides of that coin. There are plenty of people, there are enough movers, there are 1 million people that move in the UK every year. This year might be a bit different for obvious reasons, but there are roughly 1 million. In my day, I was lucky enough that I you know, there was 1.6 people on average used to move through my career, and I think there was one year when we had dual Miras where you have to speak to Stephen Hayter. He gave me the figures, but I think it was 2.4 people moved in that year before Miras, which was a lovely year, and there were very few estate agents then. So you can imagine it was a hectic, profitable period. But I think you know, I think estate agents need to get their model right, and then they will ultimately become much, much less reliant on Rightmove. Or if they are reliant on Rightmove, be honest about that and deliver a service and an offering that is correct around that piece. And it's not Rightmove, it's portals. We're talking portals here. For every penny you spend on a portal, you can't spend it somewhere else. But I really do think for the agents that we're talking about, the smaller agents who might, let's say, be thinking, actually, this is me. You know, my best member of staff is Rightmove. I don't have market share. I need more leads. The biggest problem that they've got is they're going to be spending between £1,000 and £2,000 per office to do that. And after the next month or two, after lockdown opens up, they simply ain't going to have the cash flow to do it. So they have to make some form of decision. There has to be some very, very brutal decisions made, whether you lose Rightmove or members of staff, whether you find cheaper, more effective technology to connect you and your skillful people to landlords, sellers, buyers and tenants, or whether you rely on Rightmove to do it. But if you choose Rightmove to do it, accept that your business is a business that fulfills that end of the spectrum. Don't pretend to be something else. If you are a high-level, high-fee charging performance business, of course, if you still choose to keep Rightmove, that's entirely up to you. If you think that that is a primary function of what you need to do to say to your vendor, I'm giving you best in class marketing, absolutely your choice. But make no mistake, Rightmove is not a necessity to create and generate buyers and sellers, because that's a fallacy. It's not true. The number of people that want to move won't change.
Anything else you want to say on this topic today?
No, but I'm not so sure we've answered the questions we wanted to answer, have we?
I don't know, but that's the nature of when we switch the cameras off and we cameras on Ian, and we just off we go, mate, and we see where the conversation goes. To be frank, the question was, is the plan right? I think there's people out there that are coming up with products. Building a solution is, we need to build the solution.
I'll be honest with you. I think the solution. I think the solution to
another portal, is it?
Say again.
The solution's not another portal.
Well, I think the solution, if there is a life, if estate agents are looking to build a life without Rightmove, and they're in this camp where they've decided that they're just not going to pay right for whatever reason, service, price, cost, lack of return on investment, whatever reason they concluded, they just decided that they don't want to partner with Rightmove anymore. Their plan, I think, will evolve, but I think the people leading that charge should be giving them some options and some direction of where that plan might look. If you're asking me where that plan might look, it would be to use Zoopla because it's free and it's the next biggest, so it mitigates your danger. I would list with the 2 or 3 bigger free portals that are doing it the right way. They're not stealing anything, they're not nicking any data. And I would be looking into social media platforms, and I would be getting on board with marketing experts that helped me build the brand of my individual people under the brand of my company. People do business with people. So if you can create personalities within, you do it brilliantly, Chris. One of the reasons that you're very famous is because of the way you are. Simon Whale is very famous within the industry because of the way he is. He's created a persona, a brand it's a personal brand. Now, consumers are no different from estate agents. If they see that happy smile, the pork pie hat, whatever it is that they connect with you, make that connection. Be you, by the way. Don't try and build a brand that you think they want. Build the brand that you absolutely are, because then you'll be dealing all day long with people that resonate with you. You don't need to sell every house in your town to be successful. In fact, frankly, do you really want to sell houses for people that you just don't like, you don't align to, you don't get on with? You want to be dealing with all day people that think like you, have the same...
that you enjoy doing business with.
You want to do business with, and they want to do business with you because there's a connection. But estate agents don't build those connections into their communities. And that is where real lead gen power comes in. And I think that's best done through video. I think is a fabulous innovation, and helps you connect on a personal level that an email or a bland advert just can't. It shows emotion. I think social media with technology, using the right technology, can absolutely magnify your brand to people that, have the same moral code, live in the areas that you want, right down to even just only the streets you want can get to see this stuff now. So, yes, there is a plan and a future without Rightmove, but the first thing you've got to decide is, do I want that future? Because if you do, start building it now. If you don't, build your future with Rightmove built in. But in 2 or 3 months' time, you've still got to pay those bills. They won't stop.
Thank you for your time today. Thank you for your insight. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. Ian and myself, we always like a little natter, and we just decided to put it on camera so you guys can see the insight. I'm sure this won't be the last chat we have. We always like one every week or so. Thank you for your time today, Ian. Always a pleasure, never a chore. And good luck, everyone else watching this. If you want to contact Ian, it's Ian with 2 eyes, and you know where I am on social media. Just pick up the phone and have a chat. Ian does Calendly. Is it Calendly? How do you say that, mate?
Calendly and Zoom integrations, Chris.
Yes.
Keep up, boy. Keep up.
Pretty marvelous. You basically press a button and it sends you a Zoom link and puts it in your calendar. Modern technology.
And mine. It's in both people's calendars.
There you go. It's bloody amazing. Thanks for your time today, mate. I hope everyone else has enjoyed that. Bottom line is you have to make your own decision. It's hard work out there, really hard work. Please, please, please don't go out of business with your last money being paid to a portal that you don't necessarily love or want. And as I said, neither of us are anti-Rightmove. We are pro-agent. You have to make your own choice. You've started your own business. Make those decisions for yourself. Don't follow the herd, and you'll be absolutely fine. Iain, thanks again today for your insight. Cheers, mate.
Thank you. Cheers.